Welcome to this demonstration of the Hal Express. As you can see from that reel, Hal Express has already established itself with hundreds of broadcasters and post-production houses around the world. Hal Express is the complete graphics suite. It's a powerful integrated graphics production center where multi-layer compositing, keying, effects and audio all come together. As a designer, I have total control over the job from start to finish. Hal Express is the machine on my right here. It has a capacity for 7.5 minutes of non-compressed CCIR 601 video, and that's stored with true random access. Everything you see, including that reel, is coming off the Hal Express discs. I'd like to take about 15 minutes of your time to show you the speed, versatility and creative possibilities offered by the system. I'd like to start by showing you an opening title sequence that was created entirely on the Hal Express. Very complicated looking piece there. Let's just jog through it and see what we have here. There's a lot happening here. You might think that it's probably taken about a week to produce, which it would normally. It's in fact been put together in half a day on the Hal Express. That shows the powerful processing power on the Hal. So we've started with a tracking move here. You can see that we've laid the title down onto this computer chip. That's using HAL's powerful 4-point tracking. We've got lots and lots of custom wipes here. We've used chroma keying on that fish. We've got text. That owl is actually chroma keyed onto that background. More custom wipes. We brought in some 3D animation here. We can do that now using TCP/IP protocol. We can bring in 3D images while we're still working on the system. We've got text. We've got over 1,000 vector-based fonts now coming as standard on the HAL, also Paintbox Express. We've got a 3D move here that was totally generated on the HAL and quite a nice DVE move at the end there. And light sourcing you'll see on the park title. So quite a lot happening there, remembering it took half a day to produce. I want to look at some of these things in a bit more detail now. We'll start off by looking at the desk. Now the desk is where my working area, and this is all the information I need to produce this entire job. And you can see I can take all my clips off and organize them, keep myself incredibly organized for this particular job. I'm going to put all my matte shapes in one spot. I can preview them at any stage just by running up and down these timelines. I can preview what I've got, and you can see that I can color code and title also. So keeping myself organized, everything I need for this job is here in front of me. I've only used my tape machine twice to bring in my initial rushes and to send out my end product. So you can see how easy it is to use. I can delete these clips as quickly as I put them in. Let's delete everything, and we'll go and find a desk, and I'll run through a wipe with you. So let's go and find a desk being a group of clips. And here, if I just remind you from the title sequence, we've got here a wipe happening. If I just play it out as a loop, you can see we've got a wipe happening. If I can draw your attention to the landscape coming through, looks like a pretty complicated wipe. See how easy that is to produce on the HAL Express. I've got my 50 frames of matte here that we have generated within HAL. I've also got 50 frames of the background, and I've got 50 frames of the landscape. I want to bring the landscape through this matte shape, so I can simply plonk it on top, and I've got instantly a matte attached to each frame of that landscape. It's showing me that with the little S that stands for stencil. Okay, now what I want to do is bring that through over my background. If I set that as my background, I simply go in and cut this out, remembering that HAL is in fact a paint box for moving video. So what I have on the end of my pen here is a cutout, and I can position that, move it around, do a move with it if I like. I've already got the move generator as a matte, so it's simply superimposing it over the background. So what I want to do is I just want to change the opacity of it. So just by running my pen up and down the screen, I'm just going to change the opacity of that to about 50, and I'm just going to squash it a bit there. In fact, I'll squash that a little bit more just so that it fits in that position there. That's fine. Okay, I'll do that as a keyframe move over my 50 frames of background. So if I just process that now, I'll show you the speed of processing on Hal Express. And you can see I've got 50 frames of foreground, 50 frames of background, 50 frames of matte shape, and that's processing at CCIR 601 video quality. Incredibly fast. And that could have been 99 layers there, all moving at once, all processed at once. And there's my end product. Very, very quick. So let's look at something a little bit more creative now. Getting another desk from my library and keep myself very, very organised, saving all my desks individually, my different areas to work in, so at any time I can come back and edit things for the client. Okay. So here we have the fish inside the fish bowl, and there's a lot of effects being used on that. We've used colour effects, we've used keying, numerous effects. Let's have a look. We've also used it for a chapter heading, introducing part of the show. We've got the fish here that we've chroma keyed into the background, and we've also added this text with one of our picture bending options, Ripple. We'll look at text in a minute. First of all, we're going to look at the fish, because what we started off with was 32 frames of fish. This is all we could find of the fish. What we want is 3 seconds or 75 frames worth. Very simple on how. We just simply go in and stretch it. Here I've got the ability to run up and down this line here, and I can stretch it or slow it down, speed it up, whatever speed I want. I'm not limited to 3 times the speed or half speed. I've also got the ability to give it a profile stretch, which means that I can speed it up and slow it down in certain areas. Very, very flexible. Here I simply want to change that to 75 frames. As easy as that. And I've actually done that here. If you have a look at this stretched fish, you can see that it's beautifully stretched. Hal's worked out all those in between frames. We've got a lovely slow stretch, and that is now the same length as my background here. Background we've also played with. That was originally bubbles. We've added an average effect to that to give it motion blur, and we've also used some color effects on it. Very, very simple. In the color menu we've got the ability to change chrominance, luminance, anything we like to match up a shot. And we've also got here 360 degrees of hue rotation. So very, very simply can change the colour, and I can preview that at any stage along my timeline. There's numerous other effects in here in my colour menu. They're just a few. That was posterizing there. Very, very nice effects. So what we've got our background and we've got our stretched fish. I don't need this for now, so I can bring them off my table. These are the 2 clips I'm working with. You can see everything is very, very clean here, clean working area. Next thing I want to do is pop my fish into the water, and do that in my keying menu. Here we have chrominance and luminance key. Very, very powerful keyer in all of the Quantel equipment, including Hal. See, I'm just tapping on the areas that I want to key out. At any stage I can go backwards, and I want to add some softness here to get rid of that hard edge. So add a bit of softness, and I can preview that. I want to preview it over my background. Very simply set that as background, go back into my effects, and you can see now if I turn background on, I can preview that instantly over my background water, and everything is moving there. It's moving with me. I'm not waiting for it to catch up. I've got a little bit of blue spill here which I'm not happy with, so I can get rid of that instantly on Hal. Watch this. Hit the mix button and it's gone. Preview it, and there's my perfect key. No blue spill whatsoever. So if we look at the final product here, that's exactly what we've done. We've also done exactly the same thing, keying the water back over the fish to make him look like he's actually in the water. Let's have a look at text now. We've done this rather nice effect on the text here, rippling it in the water, and that was very, very simple. If we have a look at text, go into my text function, We have now 1085 text fonts, the whole Bitstream library on board on HAL, because HAL has the Paintbox Express on board. So if I just pick a font here and just type in a word, you can do this on the keyboard or on the keypad. So very short word, and size that up. You can see that there's no quality loss at all there. Lovely clean edges on my vector-based fonts. Once I've cut that out, that becomes a cutout on the end of my pen, so I can manipulate that wherever I like. And I can add styles to it. So I have outline, surround, all the standard styles, all editable as well. Simply by running my pen up and down the screen, you can see how quickly I can edit those. New style available to us, and that's light effects. This is wonderful, gives us an extra dimension to text or any cutout, in fact, and you can see I've got a light source running across there. I can change that light source. I have two lights available to me, and I can change the light and add low lights as well. So you can see we've added another dimension there. Very, very handy. But I'm sidetracking here. What we want to look at is our ripple function, which is one of our picture bending functions. Here I've got the ability to choose from bend. Bend gives me this grid here, and I can pull out any of those points I like, and you can see that that is truly three-dimensional there. You might have seen this in commercials where they manipulate an animal's mouth to make it look like it's talking. Very, very handy, that. We want to look at ripple. Ripple, I can simply, by running up and down the screen, I can change the amount of ripple, I can change the frequency of the ripple, and you can see that my light sources are following that as well. I can do it as a keyframe move. So I could start with that ripple there, say start with ripple 2 over 50 frames and make the end, say, -2. And if I just preview that along my timeline, you can see that HAL is working out all those in-between ripple movements very, very quick, and that's an instant preview I'm getting there. So you can see some of the wonderful creative options available to you on Paintbox Express. Let's move along now. To something really quite powerful. You might recall from the opening title sequence this tracking effect we have here. We've dropped the title onto the computer chip as it's moving along and tracked that movement. We started off with this particular shot here. You can see that would be quite hard to track in any other way. So let's just organise ourselves here for a minute. I'll just get rid of those pieces. I don't need that. What I'm working with is this particular shot here. What I want to do now is find my title to drop onto that computer chip. If I go into my Paintbox table here, remembering we have Paintbox Express on board here, so I have my Paintbox table. I want to load in my cutout. You can see that that's taken the attributes of my last cutout. What I want to do is lay that back onto that computer chip. What I want to do first is give it a bit of a soft edge, and I can do that now in my edge functions. Just soften that edge up a bit. There we go, you can see it's got a nice soft edge. Now I want to drop that down onto the computer chip, and I can do that using a spin option, or I can do it using pin. And here I get my 4 corner pins, and I can just pick them up and position them into place. Simple as that. And you can see that there's no delay there. HAL is there following me as I move, so it's working at design speed. So I've done that with 1 frame, but I want to do it with a whole 40 frames. That would be a bit time consuming normally. So what we can use is ALF, 4-point tracking. So if I go and simply pick my first point, and you can see I'm getting a magnified pixel area there, pick my first point, do it, and it's remembering the position along that 40 frames there. You have 2-point tracking, mark my second point, and you can see that I can do this backwards or forwards along my clip. And you can see it madly calculating away there. 2-point tracking is very, very handy for stabilizing a shot. You might have a shot where you should have used a Steadicam. Hal's used for steadying a shot. 4-point tracking is of course very, very powerful and often used for pack shots if you want to replace a logo, say, something like that. So you can see very, very quickly I've got my 4 points tracked along those 40 frames. So I can preview that, and now I want to apply that to my cutout here. I want to tell these little yellow arrows where to go. Turning on my ALF pins, and you can see that I'm getting keyframe move all the way along my clip here instantly. And just to show you the processing power in HAL, I'm going to process that in front of you. So that's processing at broadcast quality there. Look how quickly that's processing, and that could actually be moving shot that's tracking another moving shot there. Let's have a look at that. Processed right in front of you there. Very, very powerful. What I'd like to show you next is HAL's ability to do 3D movement. You can see here that we've got a spinning globe. And the spinning globe was actually generated entirely on HAL. It could of course been brought in from a 3D system because we now have our open platform, we can talk to other systems. But this was generated on HAL using its ability to manipulate 2D cutouts in a 3D manner. So if I go and grab the cutout from the library, you can see that I'll have a 2D map, and it is 2D, you can see that. Just go back to my paintbox table and grab in a picture. So I've got a background. So you can see now that I am working in a 2-dimensional area here. A flat background and a 2D cutout. I want to make that into a 3D cutout, a 3D globe. So we go back into the Quantel menu. Now you remember this from the lettering that we rippled. We didn't look at wrap. And wrap gives me ability to wrap around my X and Y axes, and you can see that I can wrap it towards me and back. Once again, HAL is keeping up with me. There's no delay whatsoever. If I just put some numbers in here that I just happen to know, 0.65, and I know that that makes a sphere because it's a 3:4 ratio. And now if I want to just position that in place, and I can now spin that around my y-axis, and you can see that that really is a 3-dimensional globe. I can add light effects, and I can do keyframe moves on that as well. And you can see that's exactly what we have done here. We've made a keyframe move, bringing it towards us, adding light effects to it, truly 3-dimensional. So we've taken that one step further now, and we've used it as the base of this pyramid here. Rather nice DVE move. We've used 5 cutouts here, manipulated them in a 3D manner using light sources and keyframing. Let's see how we did that, because it really is incredibly simple. Going back to my table, grabbing my first cutout. There's my base. If I just size that down, that's fine. And now, beauty of the table is that I can go in now and I can load up the rest of my sides, and here they come. So now I have all my pieces to make up my pyramid. And it's a bit like video origami. Simply go in and attach this to there. You can see instantly it's attached. It's hinged there on that edge. That's that one. Simply go through and do the same thing. I'm going to attach this one from the corner, and now you can see I can spin that around that corner. Same thing, and spin it around. Still looking very two-dimensional there. If I simply go in now and spin that, you can see that it really is three-dimensional, and I can start closing my sides up. And you can see that that is in fact a 3D image. So now if I spin that, you can see that it really is a 3D image. And the beauty of this is I can actually save that as a keyframe move. So this means that from week to week we can replace all the sides of this pyramid very, very simply by making them into cutouts and save the keyframe move. So this is what we go through every week. I'm going to render that for you just to show you the speed of processing. I've got a moving background there, and I've got 5 cutouts moving in that DV move, and that's being rendered at full broadcast quality in front of you, and it's amazing speed of processing on the Hal Express. Those images could be moving images in all of those sides of the pyramid, and in fact there could be 99 layers, remember, all moving at once, all rendered at once at full broadcast quality. 5 layers there, 6 layers if you include the background, in effect 6 tape machines or 7 tape machines in a traditional edit suite. And we can apply light effects and colour effects to that as well if we like. So there we go, that's rendered for you in seconds. So let's have another look at that opening title sequence that we've generated. Remember, it was generated in half a day. We've looked at 4-point tracking, we've got chroma keying in there, the powerful chroma keyer in HAL. We've looked at text, we've looked at bringing in 3D graphics from another system, and multiple custom wipes. We've looked at complicated DVE effects made simple on HAL, and light effects. So there's Hal Express, the complete graphics suite.